recommend the parents that they should be updated about the technology. We cannot deny technology. We should be updated with the teaching norms also. This starts by educating and giving awareness to all stakeholders. Mindful meditation is something that I would recommend strongly.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Great Principles, a podcast where we explore the groundbreaking ideas and initiatives that is changing the face of education. Today we delve into the intersection of inclusive education and the mental health post-COVID. Our esteemed guest, Ms. Jaya Chetwani, principal of Aaryans World School, Pune, is a renowned and esteemed guest of ours today. She brings in with her the wealth of experience and expertise to the conversation. As an educator and mental health advocate, Ms. Jaya has been at the forefront of promoting inclusive education and supporting students' mental well being. Her tireless efforts have contributed towards transforming the landscape of education and making it more inclusive, empathetic, and supportive. So, without any further ado, let's welcome our guest of today and let's discuss this very crucial topic of inclusive education and mental health. Welcome to Great Principles, ma'am. I'm really honored to have you with me today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be connected.
So, Jaya, ma'am, the topic that you have chosen, though people have forgotten about COVID and the world has taken us back on the track, but there is much more that needs to be addressed. Like, what about the students? How those who have lost their track, how can we get them back? Though they are bringing up, but still there is a lag between what they have learned and what they need to relearn again and unlearn again. But before that, ma'am, I would like to understand from you what inspired you to join education domain and what motivates you to stay here. What were the challenges that you faced in this journey? Some notable achievements, anything which is close to your heart that keeps you going in here. We would like to understand that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving me that beautiful opportunity and the platform to present my ideas. My journey as an educator started by being a pre-primary educator. Therein, I identified few learning gaps between the students. Students were having those potentials, but while it came to the pen and paper test, they were not able to execute it, which made my inclination towards psychology. I am masters in psychology as well. I understood the areas and the bridging the gap is where that is when I started bridging the gap. But I realized that only knowing the psychic behind it is not going to help. So I am also a certified special educator, wherein we bring in the expertise to guide the students. That has been my earlier part, and after that, being an administrator and working in this industry since last 16 years, I have identified that we have children coming from diverse backgrounds. Well, like the policy talks about right to education, the policy talks about inclusion, but we as a system fail to include them. So definitely the sensitivity has to be around how to include them. So that remains a soft corner for me. And during COVID, when I was given an opportunity by government of Delhi to work as a COVID warrior, so I have contributed there as a COVID warrior. And what we identified over there is, after COVID, this gap and this addiction to mobiles has actually disrupted the study pattern for the students. Their attention span has come down and their focus has also been diluted now. So it is definitely a task. And I must say, during COVID, it was a little less, still manageable, but now post COVID, the addiction that we see in teenagers, especially the adolescent age, is something that we all educators should be working together. At the same time, cyber security and safety is also something which we should not ignore, because with mobile comes a lot of challenges and lot of access to students. So how to use technology and to what level the parents have to monitor, and everything, ma'am, whatever the students use has a repercussion on your health, physical health and mental health. So I have been advocating about mental health, because even if the child has been addicted for 13 hours glued to the screen, it will come with a repercussion. We have seen students not wanting to interact, have gone into social anxiety because of that, because they don't want to face real time characters. They are more inclined towards their virtual world. So of course this needs a little bit of counseling, and also their focus to be brought back to the academics. So this is something I feel that all the educators should be looking into, and that's where my inclination lies.
Completely agree with you, ma'am. Whatever you spoke about, the practical implications of the screen time. of the COVID era, of distractions that our students are facing today, and the difference between the real world and virtual world, where they are not able to identify, these all needs to be addressed. And of course, one at a time, because before COVID, we were like, no gadgets, no screens, watch limited, and then suddenly we gave the gadgets in their hand. And even now, post COVID, also there are many schools. If there is some construction activity going on, or if there is some other issues, people are still resolving towards online education. Definitely it does have its pros, but as you mentioned, we need to set the limits, the boundaries for everything. So ma'am, here I have one question for you. That we cannot shy away from technology. And yes, it has adverse effect. Now, earlier when we used to get spectacles after the age of 50, now we say in late 30s people are having spectacles. So ma'am, how do you bridge this? Because we cannot just go with technology now. If technology is not introduced, how will our children face the future, where which is more unpredictable, and which will be much more advanced, because with artificial intelligence stepping in, things will be different altogether, right?
Correct, ma'am, correct. Not only artificial intelligence, this is the time of augmented reality also, wherein I will just share one incident. Last year, while the board hall tickets were released, it was clearly mentioned by the board people that chat GPT is not allowed. So imagine, imagine where we are leading to. And it is very important that we stay upgraded with the technology, but at the same time, we should understand the pros and cons and how to effectively use it. There are few interesting gadgets by the government, by Google itself, where you can monitor your students' progress. Even as an educator, what I feel is, of course, use your technology, but understand, give the time frame for the limit of the use, and parents' awareness and vigilance is very, very important. Otherwise, we will not use technology, the technology will be using us. That is what I feel. So yes, we cannot stay back and allow others to overrule us. At the same time, we should be using it with guidelines. Now, for example, effective use of technology can be done for research. See, we at Aryans are already including 21st century learning skills in our schools. Ours is a very inclusive and an up-to-date school wherein we give holistic development to the children. But at the same time, we are very particular about the use of technology, the limit of the technology, what goes to the parent, and through which medium. So we don't have WhatsApp groups. We have only certified groups where the information is being shared with the parents. So that mindfulness I feel is extremely important for the educators as well as the parents. So that bridging the gap, and where you have awareness session with all the stakeholders involved, not only the educators but the parents and the students, all collaboratively working towards it, will give us a healthy environment to function.
Absolutely, ma'am. So I think ma'am wonderfully shared that how you can be master of the technology but not the slave, and I think that is what is becoming with our generation today. We all are becoming slave to technology. We don't even think that things can be managed and can be done. So how we should think of mastering the technology? That is what is needed. We need to master it and use it to the optimal utilization, because yes, that is what is the future is. And I think our educators are playing a fairly good role in ensuring that our children understand the use of technology, and they are guiding the parents also, as Jaya ma'am also said. So ma'am, now we move to the topic of today, that is inclusive education and mental health. Much needed to be discussed upon and to be talked upon, that how can we ensure that diverse need of each and every student is met in the classroom. So ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. See, ma'am, while we are all working in an education setup, we come across students who belong from different castes, creed, community. Even as per our government policies, students from right to education are included in this system. So everyone is quite diverse. Being empathetic is the first thing that I would recommend. At the same time, it is extremely important that we stop stereotyping the people. We stop labeling them. So oftenly the teachers, even the parents, use it as they have ADHD, or these are very commonly used terminologies. Like the child is a slow learner. This is what people start saying it, but I suggest that we should not be doing that. And it is the mandate that every school should have a counselor, and a counselor is the right person to identify the need of the child. At the same time, the special educator is the one who will help you with the academics part of it, and the teachers who will be giving you the base for that. So all have to work together in cohesion. That's the only way to include everyone. Our inclusion does not start and stop only at giving admissions. After that, the journey is lengthy. You will have to take effective follow ups with the students and understand their concerns. Most of the times, ma'am, what we have seen also is that students are reluctant to accept them as their peer group, and they start labeling them, shaming them. And this, sorry to say, but also in the online medium of education, we have seen that they start, bullying each other, or they start stalking each other. So these children are very innocent, ma'am. For them, they have got a new platform to explore, and they will do that. But we educators and the parents, that is the stakeholders that are involved, have to clearly tell them what are the repercussions. Are you allowed to say like this to a child? And what are the repercussions? There is cybercrime in process. There are school policies in hand. While you label them, shame them, or isolate them, as a matter of fact, go sit in a different class, stand outside. So definitely, I'm sure other schools would not be doing it, but a little more empathetic and more sensitive towards their needs is what is we would recommend, and gradually paying a path for their slow and steady development. It will require consistent efforts, ma'am, but I'm sure all the educators together, we are working according to the new NEP and trying to give the great platform. And I'm sure all the schools would be doing it and creating a platform where all children are not only included but welcomed.
So, ma'am, having said that, how do we ensure that, especially when we judge the students on the basis of their academic performance, on the basis of their physical performances, and we design a parameter of certifying, that so and so, this is what has been your grades, or this is where you reach today. So, how do we measure this? Because, some children definitely have, what do you would call it, some issues with them for learning, and we call it special educators, special children. But these gifted children, when we are in the inclusive environment, and we judge them on the same parameter, how fair is that?
That's absolutely not fair, and I must thank the National Education Policy that has come into existence. The National Education Policy 2020 talks about 360-degree assessment card. That means now to judge the child, only the teacher's scores will not be valid. They will have their peer assessment, they will have their parent assessment, they will have their teacher's assessment. So everyone is giving a contribution to what the child's ranking is. Secondly, as per Harvard Gardner, the theory that he had given about multiple intelligence, where a child, whichever intelligence he has, be it kinesthetic, that is bodily intelligence, be it interpersonal, intrapersonal, or logistic. So once we identify the child's strength, we should start working on the strength rather than labeling or shaming them about what they don't have. Rather, let's do a SWOT analysis and understand their strength and start going towards it. And I'm sure if collectively done, if we all are at the same page, this is possible. And with new NEP, I'm sure that this will happen very soon. The 360-degree report card talks about it, and we all schools are working towards it, wherein only one person's opinion will not be counted. So earlier it was the teacher has declared the child is like this, and then that stays, like a stigma. But right now we are talking about removing the stigma and the stereotypes. So everyone's opinions will be respected, valued, and given a platform to showcase. So I'm sure that will help us, ma'am.
So I think government has already taken its a step to bring about a meaningful change, and now let's see how well we adapt to it. We as parents also have some different expectation. We are not easily adaptable to the changes that is being brought in, especially into education. And I think, ma'am, as an educator, you must be at the right position to tell me that how rigid parents are when we bring in any change and we talk about, now less of academics and less of other things. सो इवन पेरेंट्स आर लाइक नहीं नहीं आप तो कुछ पढ़ाते ही नहीं हो, कुछ होता ही नहीं है, हम पढ़ाने के लिए तो भेज रहे हैं. सो व्हाट इज दैट गाइडेंस टिप्स दैट यू वुड लाइक टू शेयर विद द पेरेंट्स, दैट व्हाट चेंज द NEP is bringing in, what expectation they should put in front of the school also before just judging them on the basis whatever of their limited knowledge is.
Thank you, ma'am, for that beautiful question. I think this is the need of the hour. Most of the time, ma'am, I am a certified counselor and a special educator too, apart from being the head of the institution. What happens is when the cases, I will just share one of the case. I have children right from grade like age 1.5. So imagine parents coming to me and asking me, मेरा बच्चा ना पेंसिल ठीक से नहीं पकड़ता है, आप थेरेपी लेंगे क्या? मेरा बच्चा डी उल्टा लिखता है, बी उल्टा लिखता है. See now, what is the parents expectation and what is the child's age? The child is just hardly 3 years, 2 years, At that age, when you refer and you come to a counselor, that means, I always say, it is not the students, it is the parents who need the counseling. Where are we coming from? See, in our age, it was very mandatory that reading and writing and pen and paper test, but now it is an holistic environment, and definitely you should choose a school which gives you the holistic development of the child, right from drama to music to now art integration, everything, and even the careers. Ma'am, if you look at the careers, research states that whatever we are training our students now, these careers will not exist after 10 years. So, what are we producing and what are we working on? So, at this time, I would recommend the parents that they should be updated about the technology. We cannot deny technology. We should be updated with the teaching norms also. Yes, we do. Here at Aryans also, we take open book tests. So why is it not possible? Let the child understand, because being an educator and especially an English teacher, I realize the students are not able to find answers from a comprehension given, because they're so used to ratifying the facts. So that should not be the case. You will have to give them a platform where they're able to explore their own talents and portions, like, so we do include a lot of holistic development at our school. Our children are doing extremely well in sports, they are doing extremely well in arts, they are also very well in drama. I've never seen CBSE students participating in that. But the whole idea is, when you create an aura where everything is important, it is not only academics, it is everything. When you pay attention to each and every part of the child's development and growth, only when your children will be able to flourish in this upcoming 21st century that we are talking about. Now the generation is changing. Earlier, we were studying so that we can work in the same country. Now, our children are traveling abroad. The curriculum trends over there are very different. So, our children should be able to sustain on their own. They should be having those logistical, critical thinking skills. Entrepreneurship is something that we are promoting. So I believe that it is the parents who have to really look into it, that only pen and paper test is something that they should not be focusing on, but the child's strength, as we talked earlier, that it has to be looked into it and given due emphasis. Only then we can see a change in the education system. But it starts by educating and giving awareness to all stakeholders, and in that the students are the last part, because they are quite trainable, adaptable to change, and they will quickly adjust everything. It is the parents who come with their own stereotypes. So yes, their awareness is extremely important.
Very true. And I'm a parent myself, and I assure you that accepting change is very difficult, especially when we think that we also come from the same setup of what is being taught to us, and like we don't think that we are that bad. You know, we position ourselves that see we also have studied to the similar pattern. This is where we have reached, but what we forget is that now the disruption has come. The future is unpredictable. It is a global community now. Earlier, it was just that nearby areas we had to present ourselves, or only those were the places where we have to prove what are we capable of. But today it's a global community our children are going to face. To all my dear parents, I appeal to you, so please be aware of what is happening, what your child needs to be prepared for. We are not aware of that only, and accept change. And as ma'am said, NEP is a very revolutionary policy, visionary policy, designed by leaders keeping in mind what future demands. So as people are doing their bit, we as parents also need to collectively put in effort. As ma'am rightly said, one community or one part of the pillar cannot do anything. All the pillars need to unite together to see the change. So Jaya ma'am, thank you so much for that lovely interaction that you shared with us, and the guidance that you have given us today. But before we sign off, ma'am, there will be some quick rapid fire questions that we would like to ask you. You need to answer those in one word, or a sentence would also do, right? So
Yeah.
you're ready, ma'am, for our rapid
Yes.
fire session?
Yes, ma'am. All set.
All set. So here goes my very first question to you. If someone is feeling low or low on energy or not feeling like to move on, what is one thing that person should practice or make his or her child practice?
Jadoo Ki Jabki is something that I would recommend to anyone, that will help you to come out of your blues. And in case you are alone, I would request you to start meditating only for 3 minutes. That will really help you to, like, keep calm and help you resolve your internal conflict.
My second question to you is, ma'am, these days, parents and children and teachers, all three of us have become a little impatient, especially post COVID. So, how can we help ourselves? Any book that you recommend that should be read or anything that should be practiced?
Mindful meditation is something that I would recommend strongly. Books I would definitely not recommend because I know parents don't have that much time to read it. Of course, I am an avid reader, but I would recommend mindful meditation wherein we extend and feel everything around, which will help us and stop being impulsive and giving out impulsive decisions.
Right. Coming up to my next question. If you were not an educator, what you would have been?
I would have been only educator.
All
That's
right. So an educator by heart and always will do that.
oh
It's a
yeah,
passion. All right.
yes.
So coming up to my next question. What do you do when in your free time? What are your hobbies?
I read a lot of books. I am into photography. I am into nature. I do a lot of trekkings. So that is something very close to my heart. That gives me internal prayer, peace, and bliss. I write a
Wow.
lot
So I
of books.
think, oh, you write books too. All you have
Yeah.
authored many books.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
They are in
Wonderful,
process. Yeah,
ma'am. So do let us know they're in process.
sure.
All the best, ma'am. We look forward to all those published. All right. Coming up to the last question in this segment. If you were to change one thing in our current education system, what would you change?
The assessment pattern. Of course, we should not be labeling checking a child's academics only because of his cognitive awareness. So that is one thing I would really want to change, and I hope with the NEP in process, things will improve.
Definitely, I felt that that should be the thing because that is what is lagging. Our
Yeah.
teaching quality is improved drastically, and with so much resources available, things have changed. But yes, assessment needs to be worked
I
upon.
must
So,
add, ma'am, if you permit me, the
sure,
skill education that the new NEP is talking about, I must not say new, it is the revised NEP that is talking about, is definitely going to bring the change because I feel that students from secondary section, they don't understand what are their career goals. They are clueless. But now
right.
with the skill education in place right from grade 6, they are inclined towards their vision. They will know exactly what they want to do when they grow up. If it is even beauticians, even carpentry, everything is being given very nicely focused on according to national education policy. And I think that will bring in the lot required change that is required in this education system.
Very true. So when you know what you want to do, why not excel in that field and
True.
become a master of that? So yes, again, very thoughtfully put up. So Jaya ma'am, thank you so much for your time and your wonderful interaction with us. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. I hope that your world resonates far and wide in the world of education. So, to all my dear viewers, thank you for listening to us. I'm sure that this episode has brought in so many thoughts to you, so many ideas to keep yourself at bay and not just, distort yourself every time with any kind of disturbance. So, Jaya ma'am is always available for you to guide you, to help you, to support you. You can write to her. There are so many interesting books that she's publishing soon. So, you have that. You will have access to that also. So, Jaya ma'am, do let us know if we can share your mail ID in the description so that our viewers can connect. Yes?
Surely, ma'am, we can do that. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, ma'am, once again. Thank you. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful day ahead, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.